got Jesse Rogers stopping by as well. And I'm glad you're here right off the top because we were going to just start with what the hell is wrong with the Cubs.
Yeah, that's a great question, Shay and Yurko. Good to see you guys. It is feeling like dire straits. Now, they're still in the wild card hunt and everything, but the division seems to be slipping a little bit here.
And the wild card lead is shrinking pretty significantly,
Everything
too.
is, everything. It's not completely dire straits. I guess that would be if you fall out of the playoff hunt here. But they are the top wild card team. They're just not hitting. That's the biggest thing. We know they have some pitching holes, but they are not hitting. And Kyle Tucker's at the top of that list. 3 strikeouts yesterday. That's two games in the last 4 where he struck out 3 times.
How many looking?
I
know I saw one.
I think it was one.
Yeah.
I think it was one. He is fouling off pitches he should be driving. He's hitting ground balls that he should be hitting into the air. I mean, the wind has been blowing in, but it is for both teams, and the Reds were able to put up a 5 spot. So it really evolves around him, the fact that they're struggling so much. Now, Seiya's struggling. Michael Bush is struggling. You name it.
Happ has struggled all year.
Pick a name out of a hat. They're struggling.
If you're not named Nico Horner, you're having a really rough second half start.
Matt Shaw's actually been okay. He homered last night.
Yeah, he was good last night. But that's the only run they scored.
But Kyle Tucker is the star. He's getting the day off today. It's a weird top of the order. Nico Horner and Justin Turner are your 1-2. I didn't have that on my bingo card a few months ago.
No. But, and not to hot take Shay this, but, I mean, the start of this, the deadline was terrible.
Yes.
We all felt that way.
Yes.
It was underwhelming based on the context of where the team was.
Yes.
You all kind of put Jed under your sights, but now that Kyle Tucker is struggling to this extent, and it's gone on for more than a month, really.
Yeah.
I have a hard time squaring that with a 5-year extension. I feel like that was going to happen anyway, but the timing of it now is pretty inconvenient. It all comes out right before the deadline.
Yeah.
Jed's got 5 years.
Yeah.
Then the deadline's underwhelming. And now the guy you traded one of your top prospects for is mired in a crazy slump.
And I'm sure the Cub fan out there is thinking, okay, extension means here comes the big deadline.
And it didn't
happen. He's safe. He's okay. You know what I mean? Get that out of the way. Now let's go to work. And it was almost like the opposite. Hey, you're safe. You're okay. Don't worry about pushing all your chips in. You're going to be here either way. That's the way Cub fans are perceiving this, and I understand why.
Because that's the way it happened.
Right, exactly.
Right. My question would be, is that fair? Because I think it's more than fair to question if he took his foot off the gas because he received an extension.
I think it's more than fair to question that. I think it's more than fair. Doesn't mean it's the answer. Only 2 people know, but I think it's more than fair to question that. Yes. I've known Jed for 15 years. I think he has a lot of integrity, but human beings are human beings. And with that security may have come a different vibe to him.
A different edict.
A different edict, maybe. Think about what he did in the offseason before the security. He made a trade he normally doesn't do, his top prospect for Kyle Tucker. And now you thought he might do the same thing. It didn't happen.
And he was also DFAing people like crazy. If you weren't helping the team, you weren't here. You were gone. And now it's a lot of guys in the lineup. How has Kyle Tucker not been sat for a day at this point?
Well, he's being sat today.
Which I get, but it took way too long to get to that point.
I disagree with that because you know what? He actually is still taking his walks. He's not chasing like Luis Robert would when he's struggling. There's some signs that it's not far off from happening. He's fouling off good pitches, which is the next best thing to hitting it out. You know what I mean? Like he's swinging at the right pitches. He's hitting them hard. He's fouling them off. He's still taking walks. I don't think he needed to be sat down, but fine. He got one. He got a mental day today.
It's just, I don't know. They're bringing up a pitcher from AAA again instead of a Ballesteros or a Owen Casey too. It feels like there's less urgency than there was a month ago.
You know,
I don't know if that's fair or not.
They're letting Willie Castro play all over, and he's done okay. But there might be a point where Owen Casey or Ballesteros is going to
when you don't win games, everything looks bad. Everything you've done is bad. When you find ways to win games, everything's rosy. They built themselves a nice cushion that allowed them to play some mediocre baseball over the course of 26 games. They're 1 game under 500 since July 4th. Okay? They built the lead just in case something like this was going to happen. They're not playing god-awful baseball, but they're just playing mediocre baseball right now. Something's got to happen with the group. to go ahead and get this thing going in the right direction.
That's a good assessment. I mean, they've had a couple really sort of ugly games, but overall, they're just not hitting. They're not hitting.
Okay, True Fan Travel and ESPN Chicago are teaming up for the ultimate fan getaway to Sin City. That's right. We're going to see the Bears take on the Raiders in Vegas at the end of September. It's going to be great.
What do you get? Round trip airfare. You get a 3-night stay at Mandalay Bay. You got special live broadcasts of all the fellas. We're going to be there, guys. It's going to be Friday. It's going to be Saturday. It's going to be all the stuff on Sunday. It's going to be fantastic. You get to meet the ESPN Radio Chicago 1000 team, all-inclusive tailgate with all the bells and the whistles. Tickets to the Bears-Raiders game, which is probably the most important thing in the world, and there's more to come.
All right, spots are limited, so do not wait. Reserve your spot today at truefantravel.com.
Boom.
How much of Cub fan feeling bad about what's going on right now is just Milwaukee's insane?
Oh,
They're 44-16 in their last 60 games.
I mean,
It's unsustainable.
as reporters, we've been asking players a lot about Milwaukee. You know how players get, especially in August, meaning the final week of the season, fine, bring up your opponent, but they don't really want to talk about Milwaukee. They want to talk about themselves.
Yeah, they're chippy. It's going to get chippy here.
Yeah.
There's a 5-game set coming up here in August
Yeah.
where Milwaukee comes to town. I have a feeling there's going to be a little bit of a brouhaha and or some fireworks during that thing.
I'll tell you another thing. That series could just be for the division. Because if all things being equal until that point, Milwaukee's playing to bury the Cubs, and the Cubs are playing to get back into it. That's a really different
September is
is
still a long month, meaning there's plenty of time if one team goes 3-2, 2-3.
Sure, but if they
go 4-1 or something, the Brewers,
and if they put you 7 or 8 back with a month and a half to play, you feel dead.
My number is always 6. 6 doesn't feel too unattainable. 7 or more starts to. But when you had a 6.5 game lead and now you're 4, I mean, it's starting to just feel bad, and it's a little tense there because guys are not hitting. They didn't hit a home run at the trade deadline. Now they have another hole in their starting rotation, which they had a week ago before Soroka was acquired. Like, all sorts of negative things are starting to pile up. It's up to them to turn around the narrative.
Yeah, if I'm Hap, I hit righty against righty. Righty's up, I bet righty. Just to mix it up.
Just to mix it up.
Yeah, tell the guys, hey, I'm just switching around. The hell with it. see, you get the attention on the bench. Yeah. What happens if you get on, you know? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, you got a little something going on. If I'm Hap, I go lefty against lefty or righty against righty.
That would be mixing
to
it up.
That would certainly,
No, that's to break the tension.
Right.
Give yourself mismatches.
It can't be worse.
You might loosen up the room with that.
Loosen the fellas up.
Well, this is the problem is when they do face lefties, Nick Lodolo 2 nights ago, Andrew Abbott today, they have problems because without Tucker hitting, PCA is not a lefty guy. Michael Bush is not a lefty guy. Now, Turner finally came up with a big one, the home run the other day, but they're really struggling against left-handed pitchers when Kyle Tucker's not hitting.
What did Kyle Tucker say to you about his struggles?
You know, so here's the timeline. Yesterday, Jed Hoyer was the first person of authority in a month or so to admit that Kyle Tucker, his hand injury from a while ago, may have been impacting him, whether directly pain or getting him into some bad habits with his swing. Jed said that. Now, he kind of like
Pinky thumb?
Was this a case of Boog letting the cat out of the bag a little bit?
No,
too?
I don't.
He brought it up, or was it just thought that?
No, it
was
was asked if there was an injury involved, and he mentioned it. So, but we kind of knew it was there. He had a hand problem a while ago, though. But did it get him into some bad habits? So here we go. The reporters surround Tucker today. He just won't give it up. He just won't go there. Some people might think to his credit, he's not using it as an excuse. But I think also Cub fans want to know, why are you struggling? Why more grounders than fly balls? Why more foul balls? I don't know the answer. Like, he won't say it exactly right. But I think it's impacted him. I don't know if it's currently impacting him. That's the thing. So Kyle Tucker today basically was Kyle Tucker every day. I'm trying my best. We're going to turn it around. You know, the usual stuff. Really not a lot of insight. He just doesn't give that to you. So we're left with what Jed. Right, we're left with what Jed said, who intimated that at least maybe there was something there or something previously that's impacting him. But I still think, again, not chasing and fouling off good pitches means you're not far, Shay. I'm going to make a positive prediction that Kyle Tucker will turn it around very soon.
Is he going to pinch hit today, or is he going to get a full sit?
You and Sylvia are all about that the other day PCA sat. I don't think that's the biggest deal. You're in a pennant race. Meaning,
I get it.
Meaning he pinch hit later after the lefty left the game because of an injury.
I'm not as into it as Sylvie was. Yeah. I didn't hate as much that PCA came up in that game, but it was a little bit like you told him you're giving him a mental reset, and then he comes in to strike out again.
Personally, I think by August, all hands on deck. In fact, I really think if you want to talk about best 26, they might have to dip down to the minors. Is Owen Casey or Ballesteros on the bench better than what they have on the bench now, even if they're not playing every day? Like, I think those are important questions. You need all hands on deck at this time of year.
You could even, at times, bench Ian Happ. Yerk says he needs to mix it up. Take a seat. We'll get Owen Casey out in left field.
It wouldn't be the first time you got some young energy with a burst for a few weeks.
Well, and my thing
because most of the time those guys come back down to earth, but you might. If they continue to struggle, they might.
You mentioned yesterday that you were talking to Dansby Swanson. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you said to Carmen that you felt like he was biting his tongue a little bit. He didn't want to admit that he was disappointed by the deadline. So my take on that is, if you refuse to go out and trade these guys to get help, then let them be the help.
Yeah.
What are you helping by not calling them up?
I think the answer is usually good players eventually come around. Like, you might be digging a bigger hole if Owen Casey comes up here with no experience and goes 0 for 25.
Maybe.
Now, but that's the thing. We don't know. Everything's a mystery.
Well, the other problem
is the known better than the unknown, or is the unknown better than the known?
They didn't do what the Red Sox did and called Roman Anthony up pretty early, because then they were able to let him work through the, 5 for 40 start that he had. He was terrible.
Yeah.
And now he's great.
I would offer up, this is no time to panic.
I would agree with that. Doesn't mean you can't bring up one guy.
I don't know that I agree with that, though. I get the point that they're not playing terrible baseball, but they're a 500 team thereabouts for the last 2 months, and it has cost them an 8-game lead in the division. 6-game lead over Milwaukee. Gone. Now you're 4 back. This does feel a little bit like the time to panic.
Yeah, I mean, pick your adjective. Panic invokes chaos. So there's nobody should be ever should be panicking, but urgency, use that word. It's hard to use in baseball because you can be urgent about hitting a ball doesn't mean you will, though.
Yeah, 100%.
So, we could use whatever word we want, but I think urgency is probably the best one. You got to lock it down. Whatever you can control, lock it down and control that.
And understand, when I say panic, I'm mostly talking from a fan perspective.
I'm
not saying Jed needs to start.
Oh no, if you're a fan, I would panic.
Right.
If you're a fan, I would panic.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Fans can panic.
Yeah.
They're not paid to be, sit back and analyze and look at the big picture. They live day to day with their baseball team, and right now living day to day with the Cubs is an awful, awful deal. I will tell you, not this weekend, but next weekend will be the revitalization of the Chicago Cubs. Now, I'm not saying they won't win a game before that, but that series against Milwaukee, when they come to town, that will be the creme de la creme. 5 games. A doubleheader, I think, to kick it off.
Yep. You're
All
right.
If people get salty. Things get cranky when you're
do.
out there in the sun all day playing in 2 games. So, as long as they tread water until that 5-game set, that'll be the differentiator. That'll be the thing that either propels the Cubs to win the division title, or that'll be the thing that maybe puts a nail in the coffin for the division title.
And most 5-game series usually invoke some emotion from one side or the other.
Oh, yeah.
When you put first place versus second place, a doubleheader, as Yurko said. Think about it. I also like the idea of your whole rotation. Both rotations are in that series. All 5. Who's going to pitch better? To start the game. Who's going to finish better?
Who's bullpen? Are there enough arms? Who's going to man up and make things happen?
And if there's one thing you can point to with Milwaukee, the arms are starting to feel unsustainable because they're running out of them. Mizorowski's already not going to pitch. The Cubs might have a little more depth in the rotation aspect.
I mean, that's saying something when they just lost Soroka and they don't have any. But Taillon and Assad are due back. You remember Javier
Soroka
Assad,
thing's
right?
a different story. Soroka never should have been here.
Right. But good news. Assad is pitching, I think, today. Today. Miguel Amaya is playing in another rehab game. He's going to be due back. Not the next series, but the series after that.
He's a catcher, right?
He's a catcher. They might carry 3 catchers because Reese McGuire's been pretty good. But maybe they could catch lightning in a bottle with Javier Assad. Maybe.
All right.
And Taillon's due back as well. So you might be right about the depth.
As Cap said, Tyon was great in Iowa the other night.
Yeah, I like Tyon.
Tyon can go either way.
Yeah,
you know, I like it when the wind's blowing in.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah.
But when the wind's blowing out, you probably like him a little
Well,
less.
welcome to Wrigley. The
Welcome
wind's
to
been
Wrigley.
blowing in off the east a lot lately.
36 games out of 55, it's blown in. Now, that doesn't mean 19 have blown out. Only 13 have blown out. Then the others have been a crosswind. So 36 to 13.
Yeah, how do you like that?
And that honestly can explain the power outage.
I would say Tucker would have, not recently, but earlier, probably 4 more home runs. To be honest, 4 more home runs if it was normal weather here. So, you know, it's like Bellinger. You don't necessarily want your free agent year to be here at Wrigley. And Bellinger struggled here, and Tucker's having some struggles, not all wind-related, but it's part of the equation.
I'll leave you on this because Tucker's struggles, do they impact his free agent market at all?
Of course.
With the labor stoppage, I've now been wondering if this becomes really elongated and it's through the rest of August. Are we looking at a point where he could sign one of the Cody Bellinger multi-opt-out short-term deals and bet on himself the year before the labor
I think
stoppage?
if he continues to struggle, all bets are off. Meaning your possibility is as good as any. Like I'm seeing, you know, if he really looks like just an average player, right, the rest of the way, then of course
feels unlikely.
It feels unlikely, but anything's possible if he really doesn't have a rebound here. So like the Cubs become more attractive to re-sign him if he struggles in a weird way, right?
That's where I said this morning, could this be a blessing in disguise that maybe you actually can afford him because
but it's no blessing if his struggles lead to you not making the playoffs.
Well, obviously, if he keeps you out of the playoffs.
I think all bets are off if he ends the season with a really bad second half.
If they end up missing the playoffs, the Heat will be on Jed too with that extension. Can you imagine?
Oh, God. Jeez.
A 5-year extension and then
Counsel, I mean, Jed went to Tom and said, hey, pay this guy $8 million, and now he gets the extension. It's just one thing after another if they don't make the playoffs, Shea. But still, in the big high 90 percentile that they do, if I've learned anything over covering baseball, it's that you can have literally 3 or 4 seasons within a season. That means individually or as a team. You can look like crap, and then the 27 Yankees or vice versa. And we're seeing it right now. The Cubs were the 27 Yankees on offense for a while, and now we're seeing the reverse.
Well, even like A.J. Hinch said when the Tigers were mired in their slump, his 100-win Astro team lost 6 games in a row 3 separate times. So stuff happens.
The only problem is you have this historically good Milwaukee Brewer team that is going to force you possibly into the wild card, and nobody wants that.
And I think the context of it, too, being you were sold Craig Counsell was the reason for Milwaukee's success, and that clearly is not true.
Yeah. No, clearly it's not true. Because they've turned over their front office. David Stern's left. Their manager left. And they're still having success. So, obviously, what do we say? Organizations win championships, Jericho.
Yeah.
Who said that? Who said that?
You know, Crumbs.
That's
Jerry
it.
Krause.
There you go. Jerry Krause once said
Crumbs
that.
said it, and then he just got ridiculed for the
Michael
rest
was
of his
standing
life.
right next to him. No, he wasn't, but.
Well, I don't know who was.
Theoretically, he was standing next to him.
Organizations win championships.
All right.
I remember that. But, you know, they were lucky not to listen to Jordan a couple of times with some of the moves that he wanted.
No doubt. He's not a GM.
He's a tremendous owner.
Yeah.
All right, Jess, thanks for stopping
by.
by.
Good seeing you, boys.